I'm not really sure people realize how historic of a season the Cavs are having, especially on the offensive end of the court. And I think at this point, there is nothing else to say other than to call them absolute bona fide championship contenders. And I don't know if they're the favorites, and that's just simply due to how good the Celtics and the Thunder also are. But I'm not sure that they shouldn't be the favorites, I guess is what I will say. The numbers back up this team as being an all-time great team. And I mean truly all-time great. And I'm going to talk about why that is in a few different ways here in this video. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,000 subscriber mark on this channel. Uploading every single day, multiple NBA videos a day on the channel. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it and let's start talking about it. So first things first, another very impressive road win tonight against, or I guess last night against the Los Angeles Lakers. Evan Mobley goes for 20 on 8 of 14, 2 of 4 from 3. Jared Allen is 12 of 14, 27 points, 14 rebounds, outplays Anthony Davis. Darius Garland with 14 points, 14 assists, was not efficient shooting the ball, but was elite as a playmaker. And then Donovan Mitchell with an 8 of 26 of 13, 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Get a nice little contribution off the bench from Max Strus, who had 15 on 4 of 8 from 3. George Niang hits 2 threes. Karis LeVert and Ty Jerome hit 1 apiece. Really impressive win against a pretty good Lakers team. They got Austin Reeves dropping 35. LeBron had 25, 23, 7 and 4. AD with 28, 13 and 4. And they find a way to win regardless. Very impressive win over the new look Lakers. And it wasn't one of those games where I felt like the Lakers really played poorly. It was just one of those games where the Cavs just played amazing, especially down the stretch over and over again. Darius Garland penetrating the paint, making the right play, creating a shot. Most of the time it seemed like for Jared Allen down the stretch of that game, got him a couple of and one opportunities, a dunk, a floater. Just really good job of Darius Garland down the stretch of closing out this game as the second guard on the team, but he was the primary ball handler down the stretch in this game, and I thought he played phenomenally despite the lack of efficiency. His playmaking was absolutely on point. 14 points, 14 assists, only 3 turnovers as well. Really solid ratio there. It was a very good game. It was a very impressive win over a Lakers team that has played pretty good as of late. I mean, they'd won, what, 4 or 5 games in a row, and I actually think are playing pretty good basketball. It wasn't one of those games where it was like, oh, the Lakers played like trash. It was one of those games that, oh, the Lakers played pretty good. I know they didn't shoot the 3 great, but the Lakers didn't play bad, and they still got beat decently soundly. The Cavs just are that good. I mean, they really are. JJ Redick said after the game, you have to play basically perfectly to beat the Cavs. And I think that's a great way to say it, because this Cavs team, they're really good. Starting with Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's playing a, not career low in minutes, but the lowest minutes he's played in years. He's up to 46% from the field and 41.5% from 3, though. 23.7 points, 4.6 assists, 4.6 rebounds on elite efficiency. The best player on the team and one of the best guards in the league. Having an awesome year, and the ability to play less minutes per game, I think, helps down the stretch of games to have more energy and to just be more capable. Darius Garland has been the co-star. He's averaging 20 on 49, 42, almost 43% from 3. 6.7 assists to only 2.4 turnovers. Not too bad there. Been the primary playmaker and distributor, I'd say, for this team for the most part, but him and D-Mitch definitely split that role and split it really well. It's not as much of a your turn, my turn type of team this year as it kind of was last year with D-Mitch and Garland. They really just play within the flow of the offense, and it feels like they are a very unselfish, very well-connected guard duo, and that extends to this entire team as a whole. Evan Mobley's improvement as a three-point shooter has been huge for the spacing of their starting lineup this season, averaging 18 a game, 57% from the field, 43% from 3 on 2.5 attempts a game. That is a huge step forward for Evan Mobley. He's also 60% inside the paint. He has been a really good player for a couple of years now on both ends of the court, but his ability to stretch the floor now has really expanded the offensive ability of this team, because he is a very respectable shooter now, and you have to take him very seriously from out there. And that opens up the paint for Jared Allen, who's 70% inside the paint this year, having himself an incredible year, 13.7 and 10.1 rebounds per game. The stats aren't as impressive as the other 3 when it comes to the scoring, but he has been just as important. Their big 4 is 4 great players who are super well connected, all very unselfish, and are playing for each other and playing great. And then they surround that with basically shooting, and more shooting. And hopefully those guys will play some defense. Like Isaac Okoro is going to give you defense. Outside of that, it depends on the night with guys like Dean Wade, Max Strus, George Niang, Karis LeVert. But offensively, it's all shooting. I mean, they've got these 2 elite defensive bigs in Mobley and Allen, both of whom are very good offensively as well, but really elite defensively. Undersized guards in D-Mitch and Garland. You'd like to see a little more size there defensively, ideally, but with what they do offensively, again, it's okay. And then Karis LeVert, 47% from three this year on 4 attempts a game, having a phenomenal year. Dean Wade, 4.3 attempts a game, 35%, not unbelievable, but I wouldn't be shocked to see that go up a little bit. And I think he's actually a pretty solid defensive player as well. Max Strus, 37%, 33 from three. Not awesome to this point in the year efficiency wise, but he's only played in 5 games to this point. I think last night was game 6, but it hasn't been factored into these stats yet. And he did shoot the ball well last night, was 50% from three. Isaac Okoro's having by far the best shooting season of his career, up to 49% from three, having a great year in his own right. As a 3-and-D guy, really good wing defensively, but his ability to now shoot the ball at a very high level has been a big thing for this team, and he's been I'd say he's been the primary starting small forward for this team. George Niang, another guy who's a good shooter, intense, can be a decent defender. I think his intensity and effort really is a big contributor to that. And then, I mean, even Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, who had an amazing start to the year, but has definitely cooled off as of late. There's just great depth to this team on their wings and a lot of different options. And then obviously, I mean, Ty Jerome's ability to be a playmaker as well off the bench is nice as well. I feel like they have a lot of versatility and a lot of depth at their wing positions. They could use another big, like a bench big, but I think the way that they stagger their lineups and put guys like Niang and Dean Wade at the 4 when they have Jarrett or Mobley off the court, works a little bit. So number 1, they have the best offensive rating in the league, and it's not particularly close. Second best offensive rating in NBA history, by the way, behind last season's Celtics. But then defensively, I mean, it's not like they're a bad defensive team either. They're the 8th defensive rating in the league. They have the second best net rating in the league behind only the Thunder, who are right there with the Cavs in terms of best team in the league. That's the thing. The Cavs are having a historic year, but so are the Thunder. But really, really impressive performance all the way around, especially on the offensive end from the Cavs this season. When you look at the stats, they have the fifth highest 3-point percentage in the history of basketball. That is really, really impressive. I mean, considering that the Warriors were shooting 31.6. The Clippers a few years ago were 34.7. They're shooting 43s a game at 40.7% from the 3 as a team. That is ridiculous. I mean, it is truly some of the greatest shooting we have ever seen in the history of the sport. Because, I mean, the Hornets and the Suns were not shooting nearly this many threes per game. It's just really remarkable. They're legitimately having one of the greatest shooting seasons in NBA history. In terms of their team field goal percentage, they lead the league in that. In terms of 2-point field goal percentage, they are not leading the league. Oh, that's field goals attempted. I'm sorry. They do lead the league in 2-point field goal percentage as well by almost a percentage point. And in 3-point percentage, they lead the league by almost 2% over the Bucks. They are just across the board one of the most efficient teams we have ever seen in the history of basketball. And it is really remarkably impressive. And all that together, combined with 2 elite defensive bigs and a defense that is good, has contributed to making this team, and I looked this up this morning, they have tied for the 5th best record to start a season through 33 games in the history of the sport. The 4 teams above them are the 2016 Warriors, who lost in the finals after being up 3-1 to the Cavs, and then the Bulls from 96, the 72 Lakers, and the 67 Sixers, who all won pretty dominantly in the playoffs and won the NBA title. They are on a legitimate NBA title pace right now. Not just like a legitimate NBA title, but like a legitimate, almost guaranteed to make the finals type of pace. Now, the problem is the Celtics are also an amazing team. The Thunder are elite. We literally have some of the best teams in NBA history assembled this season. And that means that it's going to be tough for this Cavs team. No doubt about it. But what they do have going for them, they are 29-4, obviously. That speaks for itself. But they're 5 games up on the Celtics, 6 games up on the Knicks. The Celtics have a couple of tougher road trips here coming up over the next month as well, with a lot of tough Western Conference opponents on the road. That is a stretch where the Celtics could easily falter a bit. And I think there's a possibility the Cavs could build their Eastern Conference lead up to 6, 7, 8 games over the next month. If they can do that, at that point, they pretty much, barring a collapse, which does not seem likely with this team, will have the 1 seed locked up if that were to happen. I would not be surprised at all if this team winds up being the 1 seed in the East. And that means that the Celtics are going to have to win a game on the road in Cleveland and hold serve all the time at home. Like, they really have a serious chance. I would not be shocked to see this team make the NBA Finals. My preseason prediction was Celtics Thunder, and I think that's still very likely. But let's not at all sleep on the Cavs as a serious Finals contender and a serious championship contender. This team is legitimately one of the best offensive teams in NBA history to this point in the season, and one of the best teams in NBA history, period, to this point in the season. Remarkable performance by an absolutely elite roster so far this year. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.